Hey, welcome to Wine Talks with Paul K. And we are in studio today on a hot day in Southern California, about to have a conversation with Marie-Melodie Condet of Vente de Vienne wines from the Southern Rhone, and from actually Northern Rhone too. Hey, Wine Talks available on Spotify, Pandora, wherever you hang out for your podcasting, and sponsored by the Original Wine of the Month Club. Have a great show coming up. Actually, it was released today with Patrick Dallon of, actually, The Count. I call him The Count now. And he has a winery in Alta Vista, but born and raised in France. Great conversation. Have a listen for that. But now while we're here today, here to have a conversation with Marie-Melodie Condet. I keep saying that because it's just fun to say. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Fascinating conversation so far, and I wanted to just peel back for the listeners some of the things we were talking about. But you are with Vente de Vienne.
Yes, exactly.
Which is, what is it?
It's an association. It's quite unique because it's an association of the three very well-known winemakers, which is Yves Cuiron, François Villard, and Pierre Gaillard. They're like
Yves Cuiron.
Yes.
Cuiron. That is a hard set of syllables in French, the C-U-I.
Yes, exactly.
Cuiron.
It's Cuiron, yeah.
François Villard and Pierre Gaillard.
Exactly, yeah.
How does that work? I mean, you got three different chefs. I mean,
exactly, yeah. The three characters, they are very like the king of the Northern Rhone.
Yes.
They have their own winery, but 26 years ago, they decided to do this unique association. It's to rebuild a vineyard that was completely disappeared on the opposite side of Cotes Du Rhone, so between Lyon and Vienne. So the name of the village is Sessuel, and it used to be a Roman vineyard. It was planted by Syrah and Viognier during the Roman period. And when the phylloxera arrived, everything was destroyed and never rebuilt. So that's why they decided to rebuild this part of the vineyard at the beginning. So that's
the
why.
Romans, they drank a lot because they were everywhere.
Everywhere, exactly, yeah.
And they liked different things. So here they are in the north of the Rhone, and then all the way down, and then they were in Burgundy. They were in Bordeaux. I mean, where were they? Where weren't they in France? But so for the listeners, let's just sort of lay out the land of the Rhone River and where it is sort of situated, let's say from Paris. So I'm in Paris, and we were laughing because I thought it was only a 9-hour drive from the French Riviera. And it was a 3-hour drive. It was a 9-hour drive. But say I'm Paris, so I jump in the car. I'm going to head down to where? Where do I go?
Yeah, you need to go to Lyon. So it's 2 hours with TGV. You took the train in the middle of Paris and you go to Lyon. It's 2 hours, and then you can continue the train to go to Vienne, or you can rent a car. 30 minutes from Lyon, you arrive to the beautiful area of Cotes Du Rhone, and you can enjoy Syrah and Viognier, of course, because we have some nice Condrieu over there.
So the north, if you're going to say the furthest most, easy for you to say, is you can say the furthest north winemaking village of the Cotes Du Rhone Valley is it Vienne or Sessuel?
Alors, Sessuel is the name of the village where we rebuilt the vineyard was completely disappeared. And Vienne is, I would say, the capital because they are very nice Roman theater. They are a museum of Gallo-Roman. So it's a lot of history about the Roman. And we say the capital of the north part of the Rhone. And you cross the river, and after Sessuel, which is the new vineyard, I will say, you arrive to Cotes Du Rhone, which is mostly Syrah. Very nice appellation. It's a very well-known cru. Then you have Condrieu, the birthplace of the Viognier, only Viognier, very unique white wine. And then you can continue to go to Saint-Joseph and cross Hermitage.
How far south? I have your map here, and I see the villages you're just talking about, and Condrieu, the Viognier, which I tasted today, was gorgeous, and a different expression than the Viogniers we grow here. They should be in California, but rather I'm not going to say lean, but the minerality, the structure, and the weight. I sensed Viognier. This real character of a grape that was really interesting. But let's say I wanted to drive south from Cotes Du Rhone. How far down would I could I go before I'm no longer in the wine country? Do I go to Avignon? Is that part of it?
Avignon, it's very nice. It's I will say the main capital of the southern. So you arrive to the southern part of the Rhone Valley. It's a lot of course, of very good wine, and Avignon is beautiful town. Also, you can visit the town and enjoy very nice southern food and very good wine like a Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Vaqueras, Gigondas, Cotes Du Rhone, even very, very nice area also to stay.
I'm so glad you brought this map because it makes things a lot clearer for me, even though I've done this for 32 years. But for the listeners, if you're talking about Cotes Rôties, which is the north, which is a different expression than Saint-Joseph, and then you get the Hermitage. So all these villages that we've come to know in America as part of the Rhone Valley, but Crozes Hermitage, everybody talks about Cornas. You mentioned Gigondas, these big, bold wines, Vaqueras. These are great places to make wine, and completely different parts of the valley. And that's what's so fascinating to me, particularly since it's just south of some of the richest soil in the world of wine in Burgundy. Right?
Yeah. We have a lot of diversity in the northern and in southern Rhone. In the northern Rhone, we have only Syrah grape, and between Sessual, so the new vineyard that we replant, and Saint-Péret, for example, it's like an hour by car, and a lot of diversity, a lot of different wine, which just one grape, Syrah, because you have a lot of different soil, and the climate also is different, and it's the same for the white.
How is Syrah, switching gears a little bit, how is Syrah these days in the worldwide? You mentioned to me you travel half of your life every year to promote the Le Vin de Vienne, and Syrah's in America, it's a tough animal. It's
so beautiful.
It's so nice. What's the general reception throughout the world?
The people like they know, mostly they know Cotes Rôties. Cotes Rôties, it's our Châteauneuf-du-Pape in the south. That the two very main appellation cru in the Rhone Valley. Cotes Rôties is very well known. It's a very tiny vineyard, and the expression of the Syrah, it's compared to another Syrah, is very unique. It's very unique. And it's quite hard also to sell this type of wine in the world. But when the people try the wine, and when I explain the different soil, and when they saw the picture of the vineyard, they are quite very impressed, and they learn about the wine, and they like the wine.
Because here I can tell you, like here, this is my club, and I have a reasonably educated group of customers. Meaning that they love their wines in a certain price range, and we taste a lot of things to bring them those wines. But Syrah, when I put that on the label stuff, Tempranillo is tough to sell as a wine. Now, if you put the village, like you put Cotes Rôties, you don't put the word Syrah, it's not known. Hey, we got to get this air conditioner. So it's not known, and when you bring up the vineyards and you bring up the district and you start talking about those things, then we start selling the romance of this, of these districts.
Mm-hmm. We had to explain, yes.
It seems like that's your job.
Yeah.
These guys, Monsieur Quigueron and Villard and Gaillard, they're playing in the vineyards and they're making wines, they're having a good time, and you're out, and you're out working, but this is I'm going to say a hard sell. We have to teach. We get to teach. We don't have to. We get to teach about these wonderful places in the world where wine is made.
Yeah, exactly.
And what parts of the world really are taking to the Vin de Vienne?
Well, our first market is Quebec.
Quebec. Well, it's French. The French.
They love the Vin de Vienne, and they love the story. They love the wine. So we are very pleased.
Markets, restaurants, wine shops.
So it's mostly for Quebec. Is mostly wine shop, but we do some private importation too. But we have also the Japanese. The Japanese love the Sessual, so the new village that we replanted 26 years ago. They were, I would say, the first importer to bought some wine from the northern Rhone from us, from Vin de Vienne. But they always love Syrah, always love Côte-Rôtie, Gros-Hermitage, Saint-Joseph.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah, it's Taiwan too, South Korea. A lot of people know about the northern Rhone. Better than the southern.
So
sometimes.
if you were to, you said you travel Asia quite a bit, and we were talking about the different cultures, and the Japanese culture seems to be, at least socially, I don't mean socially, because I'm not going to say something where I'm going to get in trouble, but something like their experience with wine, their experience with whiskeys, their experience with the finer things in life, if you want to call it that, seems to be a little more varied than the Chinese, and they're starting to take to wines like this. They're starting to understand them. They want to understand them. Is that what's happening?
Yeah. They love to understand when they try something. They want to understand everything.
Yeah.
So they are very strict and they need to know everything. So every year we have some customer and some our importer from Japan.
Yeah.
Come in France, come in Rhone, and we are taking care of them during 1 or 2 days, go to the winery, go to the vineyard, and they love to understand
Wow.
how we are making wines, and it's a pleasure to see them.
So when you go there, let's just pretend you just got off the plane. You're going to go. You check into your hotel, and you have wines with you when you do this, or they're sent ahead.
So we send the wine, and then we have a tasting with.
Like, who are you tasting with?
I was tasting with the team of the importer.
The importer, okay.
And also with home customers, a restaurant and wine shop also. We do some pairing with chef. There are a lot of French chefs.
Really?
Yes. In Vienne, for example, we have La Pyramide. It's a 2-star Michelin.
Yeah,
It's
Pyramide.
Patrick Henry Roux. And every year he goes to Japan, in Tokyo.
What was the history of La Pyramide? That's
It's
not part
Fernand
of the
Point.
La Pointe, no?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. He bought the restaurant at maybe the same time as the beginning of the 3 winemakers. So it's a lot of friendship with the chef.
I have to go on a voyage gastronomique
Oh yeah.
repas, voyage repas. That's what they call it.
Voyage gastronomique.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Particularly that part.
Yeah, and Lyon, Lyon is the city of the food.
Well, we were there. We went to Orsi. We went to Bocuse,
yeah.
of course. But then I was reading a book called Dirt. Chef Buford, he's a New York chef. And he took his wife and his kids. I want to become a French-trained chef. So he just picked up and left and they went to Lyon. And so he starts telling the story about that experience, which is hilarious, of course. And the kids going to school and trying to... But his first job is with a baker, a boulanger. And he has to drive the truck around and deliver
Okay.
the breads every morning but he only goes to local Lyonnaise places where the workers are.
Yeah.
And so when I'm reading the book, I'm writing them down. Because yes, we can go to Michelin style, les étoiles Michelin, say,
No, fancy.
2 étoiles,
Yeah.
whatever. But man, to go to these little,
Yeah, boulangerie.
that'd be incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Or you
price.
go to the Bouchon. It's a very
Yeah.
small restaurant, very typical, unique in Lyon. Very local food. You can go at 10 a.m. for a machon, which is pâté, charcuterie, pâté en croûte. It's life.
When we were there a few years ago, and there was I think it was Sunday morning, the farmers market on the main drag there, and they're roasting chickens. It's like 5 in the morning, 7 in the morning. I mean, it's
yeah.
really early, and they're roasting chickens. And here we are. My daughter's a boulanger. She was trained in France. She worked in Paris, and so here we are having a chicken at 9 in the morning with radishes.
Yeah, exactly.
But the bread was amazing. So sorry to get off track here, but you lived in New York for a while. So I want to hear about Marie for a second, because I want to know why you got into this industry, because it's not easy. You're traveling a lot, and you were born in Limoges, which everybody might understand is I've only known it as a town of ceramic, but it also has other specialties. But what got you into this?
Because I love food and wine. So
Well,
I think,
I mean,
I think,
all right,
I
come
think
on,
you,
everybody.
you need to be passionate to do this in this
something.
business.
That's true.
You need to love the vineyard, love the winemaker, love your customer. You need to enjoy life to do this type of
How was the
business.
passion of these three guys?
It's the terroir.
Yeah.
It's the terroir of the Rhone. They are specialists about the Syrah and the Viognier from the northern Rhone since long time. And yeah, it's a passion work, I would say.
It's really passionate.
Yeah.
It doesn't pay a lot, but it's really passionate.
Exactly, yeah.
So you ended up in New York, though. What were you doing there?
Yeah, the wine business too.
Yeah.
From an importer, which was like a French importer, like Baron François, most based in New York, especially the southwest of France. And also with Armagnac, Château de l'Aubade.
Really?
Yeah,
Château de l'Aubade?
Yeah, it was very nice. Yeah, very nice experience. And then New York, it's New York. But when you want to have some family, it's always difficult to live away from your family. So with my husband, we went back to France, and I always love Rhone Valley wines. And I had the opportunity to meet the daughter of Pierre Gaillard. So it's Jeanne Gaillard. And I met her, and she told me that maybe there are position in the Vin de Vienne opportunity for me, and she gave my background to Yves Cuiron and his and her dad, and yeah, I had the position.
That was going to be a question, like, do these jobs, you go to the, online, Indeed.com or something, or there's like, this is the way to do it, is that somebody tells somebody about somebody's experience,
yeah, it was,
and you get to do it.
I was the good timing during a tasting, and just next to me was Jeanne Gaillard, and yes, that's why, yeah.
It is, I've been doing a lot. Here's an interesting thing, and I love having conversations with folks like you in the trade, doing it every day. The headwinds, we'll talk about some of those in a second. The work we have to do, the education we get to do. There's something about it, and it's everybody that's in our industry has this moment where you decide this is really something special, and I want to be part of it. But I've also been doing a lot of influencer stuff. Okay, so we have this whole world of social networking. Mm-hmm. And wonderful people that are out there waving the flag for wine. They don't have a lot of experience necessarily. They're just passionate like you are. They love food and wine, whatever. And for whatever reason, their personality and the way they've set up their little influencer work, they have people that want to know what they think. And they have some experience, of course, but not beating their heads against the wall like we have to do every day. Mm. And it's fascinating to me because people want to know. They want to understand it. They want to hear from people that are like them, that are getting to know wine and where we're going to go next. Is that a reward for you to like have that light bulb go off on some people when you're showing these wines?
Yeah, it's always it's every day we had to teach people, mm-hmm. and also the the new generation. So it's very important to talk with the new generation. What is the new, what they like, what's the new food, the new wine, because every day you have some new winemaking, you have some new wine everywhere in the world. So it's very important to be in this part also of the business.
If you could figure out the new generation, you're really good, because I have 3 of them, and they're picked up. But no, it's interesting. I started thinking about this the other day. These kids, they're not kids anymore. They're young adults moving into adulthood, so to speak, and they're drinking White Claw and those flavored, sparkly things. Yeah. And they're not good, right? They don't taste good. Have you had one?
No, but...
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's not my cup of tea.
They're just... And so eventually... because they're not natural, they don't have any flavors. I mean, they're natural flavors. I don't mean natural. There's something about a properly made bottle of wine that connects, I think, the human spirit to the earth. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And certainly no phony White Claw, sparkling, gross beverage is going to do that. So sometimes I think it's just that some kind of that unexplainable value of what's in the glass that draws us to that.
Yeah.
What do you think? You don't
Because
know?
I don't know, but I think it's a period of the young people to try different things, not like their parents do. I think, and also they need to enjoy different things to make their own palate. And then maybe step by step. At the beginning, we love sweets. And then our palate with the new food, we discover different things, different wine or different spirits. We go through the more dry and dry. So,
I think that's a great way to put it. Your palate changes all the
oh
time.
yeah, all the time. So I think it's different level during your life, and each people need to educate. After there are some people who don't want to be educated, but the people who go to the wine after education, they start with a sweet wine or sweet sparkling wine, and then they go through to dry and more complex. So that's why we have, which is very nice, because in the world we have a lot of different wine, different type of wine for a lot of different palettes. So which is
There
that's
was
the
quite a
magic.
spectrum.
That's the magic of the wine world.
It is. You have quite an array, and what I found very satisfying was that they're very expressive of where they're from. And you mentioned that you have Syrah, which is you get to grow it in different climates and different soil types, and you create a different wine.
Yeah.
So your Sange Joseph is different than the Crozes Hermitage, and so on and so on. So I think that's a really important point, that our palates change. I mean, look at Sancerre right now.
Yeah.
Sancerre, I mean, why did that become popular?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to drink it now. You
Yeah,
can't even get
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
And now what happens is the ones on the market have got thin and acidic, and they're not very good because they're just grabbing whatever they can sell. And so you never know when Cote Rôtie,
Maybe one day.
Sange
Yeah.
Joseph is like this. Hey, I have to have a Cote Rôtie. And you'll be right there, ready. One of the movements that's happening in this industry, and I taste them all the time, is the organic movement, the biodynamic movement, sustainable, all the rest of it. I think there's a lot of value to parts of it. I haven't decided exactly what I think of all of it, but I think sustainable is a very good thing in general.
Yeah.
I think if I'm running a business, I would want to be as sustainable as possible. I mean, it doesn't cost that much necessarily, and you can protect your company, you can protect your people. I think it's a good thing.
Yes.
Organic's a different story, though. You're moving that direction.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So, is that new?
It's not new. All the three winemaker always work in this way, but we are just not satisfied because they want to have the opportunity, if we have a bad weather or something happen on the vineyard, to do the right treatment. But now it's very important in Europe, in France, and I think organic, it's a next step for us. So we just start to be certified.
So, here's the part that's interesting. There are a lot of people that are organic just because they want to be organic. They don't want to be certified because that costs money, and then the government gets involved and they come and test stuff. But just from a philosophy standpoint, why wouldn't you want to be as clean as possible? Short of drinking, one of the problems we have here in California, some of these people think that's a license, that gives you the right to make stuff that tastes like, kombucha or something, because it's so raw and there's little attempt to massage the wine a little bit. And here I think you'd want to be organic, like we talked about. What about biodynamic? You guys talking about that too, or no?
Yes, also, but the winemaker are not too involved about. It's the next step. It's different.
Yeah.
It's another. We always work like our grandfather methods of our grandfather. So like in a garden, it's the same. But it's not Vin de Vienne philosophy to be biodynamic for now.
Okay, one of these was second or third generation. One of the winemakers.
It will be the the second generation for Pierre Gaillard and Yves Cuiron also. Yes, Yves Cuiron, his son is just involved about the Yves Cuiron winery, and Pierre Gaillard, his son and two daughters.
Because when you think about it, they were probably organic.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, always.
For sure.
You always were, right? It wasn't until they introduced all the stuff, which is relatively modern.
Yeah, exactly.
That we had this problem.
Yeah.
Because here, just, and maybe it's the same in France. If you walk into the supermarket, if you're at the supermarché, what are the wines on the shelf there?
Yes, that's why we want to be certified, because when you have a lot of different wine from different appellation, the customer, take the example in France, they're looking for like 90% of customers are looking for the certification.
Really?
Yes. So it's very important
That's
for us.
way more than here.
Oh, yeah. To be organic, like in cheese or fruit or vegetables and wine and all this business, you need to be organic. It's a huge challenge, and the customer looking for organic.
I've tasted a lot of Burgundies that are organic. I haven't. I mean, there are some Bordeaux, but I heard somebody say the classified growth, the Premier Cru, Grand Cru, never. They're never going to be. I mean, in Bordeaux,
we'll see. We'll see in a couple of years.
You will see, huh?
We'll see. Yeah.
Because, I mean, for the most part, let's just take those chateaux. They're going to grow the best grapes they can. They're not going to necessarily cover them in insecticide, pesticides, and herbicides because they don't want to do that. But they will because they don't want to lose a crop, right? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So organically, we're trying to get to that point in the farm where we're not having to use those things, but we have a natural immunity, or we're using natural products to do that. Is that what the...
Yeah, of course. And also, but organic don't means it's a good wine also. That's
we learned that lesson.
Yeah, like the natural or without sulfite. Or there are a lot of different philosophy of wine. But to be organic not means good wine. It means a certain classification with some specific regulation, which is good for the health and because we drink wine,
right,
so
right.
We need to drink something the more natural possible. So for us, organic, it's also less specified. It's also work more in the vineyard, not a lot of machine, etc. So, but we are working like that since a long time. So it's just a question for us, for the Vin de Vienne. It's just a question of certification. But for some vineyard, it's more difficult. Also to be organic, but I think the regulation would be, the normal regulation would be for all the vineyard would be the organic side. That's the first level.
I think that's a good point you made, because you're already doing it. Right?
Yes,
and
yes.
so certification takes
that's
work.
administration.
Right. But if you weren't doing it and you wanted to become organic, it probably costs more.
Costs more because you have less grape at the beginning. During 3 or 4 years, you need time for the vine to be more natural. And so after 2 or 3 harvests, it will be more the normal regulation for the amount of the grape. But it's true that during 2 or 3 years, you're going to lose some money because you have more people, and you need more investment in the vineyard, and you are losing grape. So it's sure during 3-4 years it's tough.
And you're dealing with a grape
that's
going to be different.
Yeah.
I mean, you're learning along the way.
Yeah.
But you only get one chance a year to figure it out.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Who knows who's coming
up? Yeah, you can lose your year. Exactly.
I think your point about organic doesn't mean good, and I can't tell you how much carrots or celery or anything I've had from organic markets
Yeah.
that you bring home, or apples. They're not that good.
It's same. Yeah, exactly.
Do they have apples in Limoges, like like
Yes.
Normandy?
Yeah, yes. You know, in Corrèze, in Corrèze. So Limoges is the part of the Limousin, and Limousin,
Limousin, right.
we have some apple. Yes.
The Limousin forest.
Yes. Oh, barrel. We made
The
barrel
barrels.
to age the cognac because cognac is not far from Limoges. It's in
That's true.
Charente. Yes.
But they make, but the Limousin,
Limousin. Yeah.
the forest. I mean, they make barrels for wine as well.
Wine, yeah, but it's mostly for
Most
the
for cognac?
for the cognac. Yes, for spirits.
You prefer cognac or Armagnac?
I prefer Armagnac, I would say. Yeah. It's more like small,
It's small batches.
smaller,
yes.
smaller vineyard, and
I'm trying to get you in trouble with somebody. See, we could.
But my palate also changed because I tried cognac first, and then I prefer Armagnac. So it's like the wine. The palate do a lot of evolution.
How is the? How does? What's the perception of California wine in France? And I have my own perception, but is it talked about? Is it part of an analysis? Do you compare it at all?
It's difficult because we don't have a lot of Napa or
Yeah, exactly, you
Californian wine, so it's a shame. Because I would like more to try some different wine in France, but we are drinking mostly French wine in France.
Yeah, but that's funny though.
Yeah, and it's very local because in Lyon we drink only Rhône and Beaujolais, in Bordeaux only Bordeaux, Loire-Vallée only Loire. But for French people, California wine is more new world, very jammy, very concentrate wine, lot of barrel, very new barrel. So it's something
So that's
something
isn't that
different.
fascinating though? I mean, to me, it's fascinating because certainly you're going to drink French wine, and if you're from the Loire, you're going to drink the Loire wines. I mean, that's what you grew up with. But the idea of wine and the fascination of different parts of the world and tasting things, that's a really important part of what we do. We want to understand that. And it evolves. And now I'm feeling that voluptuous sense of Napa wines. They're big wines, and there's a lot of fruit, and the acid's not so big. And then now some growers are growing them on the hillsides and trellising differently or canopying different, so they're not so big. And so they're trying to manipulate and make things work naturally. They're going to do, but I find this New World, Old World thing a fascinating conversation. So we could talk about that. New World, is that a style, or is that a piece of ground, or what is that to you?
Maybe it's the style.
The style.
Yeah.
So if I'm in France and I'm in Côte Rôtie and I make some opulent, jammy, overdone fruit bomb, that's New World.
That's New World, exactly. With New Oak. A lot of New
With
Oak.
New Oak. Because I find it a combination. I mean, South America's New World, Australia's New World, the United States is New World.
Yeah.
And here, like in the U.S., we have, places like Louis Jadot coming into Oregon and trying to, not trying, but they make Pinot Noir there,
Yes.
and Druid and those places like that. But I find that it's a combination of the location and the style. That stylistically, it should mean something. When I taste a wine, I often say, "Oh, this is very New Worldish," and it could be a French wine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are some region like in Oregon, like in Santa Barbara. You have a very nice fresh Pinot Noir, for example,
Yeah.
or a nice Sauvignon Blanc. But I think you need to find the right place with the right grape, which is the winemaking. To be a well-known producer, to make some good wine, you need to do the experience of the soil and to plant the right grape at the right place.
Takes time.
It takes time, a long time. Yes, that's why in France or Europe, it's a generation and generation.
They have way more time than we do. Climate change in the Rhone Valley. I know Burgundy's has a huge problem with it. Bordeaux feels it. Don't feel it so much in California, but they're making champagne in England now because of that. What is happening in the Rhone Valley?
Yeah, it's quite the same. Mostly in the southern Rhone. It's a lot for dry summer and not a lot of rain during the winter times. But in the northern Rhone, I will say we're still okay. Because since 10 years, we don't had some sugar. We don't do the chaptalization because before we had to because the Syrah was not like at the good maturation. So we had some sugar on it. But since 10 years, thanks to the global warming, I will say, we have a very
That's a really interesting take.
We have a very nice Syrah, but I think it's the maximum that we can have. So if we continue in this, with the global warming, it will be like the over country. But I think the problem is the water, is the rain.
Yes,
it's
big problem.
Yes, it's a big problem. Yes, we need water, and we need a real winter for the grape cooling down. That's the most important, I think.
Chaptalization for the listeners is adding sugar to wine to increase the sugar content, so it increases the fermentation, finishes and has enough alcohol at the end of the run there. And it's not allowed in California with sugar. You can do it with grape must, like you can add grape juice to punch things up. I don't think you can do it to ferment, but you can do it to punch up, the sugar, balance the acid. Because this is interesting to me, and this is not a political thing. I get in trouble for saying that. The causes for global warming are part of the debate, the political debate. But the fact that it's here and it's true. But then you wrestle with this idea that in the 1700s, even during the French Revolution, there was a cold snap that was 15, 20, 30 years long. It was the opposite of global warming. It was global cooling, and then it came out of it. So who knows, what the prognosis is going to be for that. Which I wonder what happens then to places like England, where they're making. If it does come back, they're in kind of big trouble.
And we're going to have some Pinot Noir in Germany.
We have
a very nice white wine in Germany, in the Moselle area.
That's right. So what's next for Vin de Vienne? Any plans playing with new varietals, experimenting in different districts? What are we doing?
Yes, exactly. We are trying to plant some new grape to do some tests with a school in Montpellier, with the INRA. They do a lot of research about a new grape to plant because the climate change. And maybe we're going to find some solutions. So there are a lot of the producer are involved with this school, which is very very important for us. For Vin de Vienne, the new big challenge is to be certified for all our own vineyard, and also because we are buying grapes from different producers, so we had to convince also all the producer for Vin de Vienne to be organic, so it will be a big challenge too.
That's a big project.
Yeah.
Because it's not your grapes.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to teach them, you got to tell them to do it.
Yeah.
Are they planting in Bordeaux, they're planting, I don't know, they've tried Touriga Nacional and a few other grapes to possibly include in the Bordeaux blends. Are there things like that happening in the Rhone?
We're trying to plant some Floréal, for example, which is a white wine, a lot of flowers, taste, and different older vine, but it's not very. For now, it's too young. It's too young. Yeah, we'll see.
We had. They had a winemaker in here, and Michel Roland was there consulting winemaker. This is in a different country. And he said, yeah, you can grow wine here, but it'll take about 100 years before we figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then 100 years later, you're gonna have a drought, and it's gonna change again,
Yeah.
right? And maybe that's the fascination of what we do, and that we tried to bring to the table the best that we can produce given the conditions that we're under. And I think it's an important part of our business. And you did it today. You'll do it tomorrow, or wherever you go, and that is, you're going to take something from one part of the world that happened at some time in the world. In this case, for instance, the Saint Joseph 2018. And you're going to put it on somebody's table in Quebec or in Los Angeles and say, this is who we are, and this is when we were, and you get a chance to do that. And what other product can you do that with? Nothing.
Yeah.
Lucky us.
Yeah.
It's been a true pleasure having you here today. I'm so glad you were able to come in.
Thank you
and
very
spend some
much.
time with us and talk about Vin de Vienne and Vin de Vienne. And certainly, when we're out that way, we're coming in March. I have to convince my friends that we're not going to go to Vienna. We're going to stay. We're only going to almost get there, and we're going to end up in Bourgogne and possibly the Rhone.
Exactly.
And try some new things.
Exactly. Bourgogne, Beaujolais, Lyon, Seychelles, Côte-Rôtie. It's a
perfect.
Very nice trip.
Absolument perfect. Thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Bon voyage and safe travels.
Thanks. Merci beaucoup.
De rien.